Ooh, I think we're gonna do cremation this time around because this is a cremator. I kind of like let her clean, you know? Ah. Let's see. Oh, what is this? If you've been a long-time subscriber to our emails or follow us on social media, you have no doubt heard about the misgendering that transgender people are at times subjugated to during their funerals. There have been notable situations where trans women have had their wishes overruled by their families and have had their hair cut, are buried under the wrong names, and have subjugated to the wrong pronouns in their arbitrary announcements. We care a lot about this because we believe in treating every person with the same level of compassion, respect, and care, and this absolutely extends to pronouns and respecting the deceased wishes as per their lived experiences. The CDC's Funeral Director Handbook on Death Registration and Fetal Death Reporting offers the fraud directive. Enter male or female based on observations. Do not abbreviate or use other symbols. If sex cannot be determined after verification with medical records, inspection of the body, or other sources, enter unknown. Do not leave this item blank. Leaving it up to observation obviously enters into the world of issues since bodies can be so different, and because of their ingrained biases, people can draw incorrect assumptions based on their own inaccurate observations. California has passed what is known as the Respect After Death Act, which states that the death certificate must reflect the deceased's gender identity as they lived it. So a step in the right direction. Hell yeah, California. I had like such a big sigh of relief because I'm from California. It's just like, oh, we're moving forward. People who are trans deserve the same respect and death that people who are cisgender receive. Misgendering and death takes away this respect. It can inflict hurt and trauma on spouses and friends that survive this deceased. So what can we do as funeral directors? Listen to the people who come into your office. In America, especially, some marriages may not be recognized as legal depending on the laws around same-sex marriage. But this doesn't mean you're not dealing with two people who have loved each other in the same way as another couple. Listen, learn, and always be respectful. While you have to work with the next of kin, your duty is also to ensure that the deceased receives the utmost respect in their burials. If a funeral is to honor the deceased, then do that. Honor them. From Matthew Jeffrey. I don't like the looks of this, not one bit. I know you've been with us for a few months, but maybe you're aware of the trouble Amy has been having. A small mom and pop shop like Rose and Daughters can't compete with the bigger guys. Anyways, don't tell Amy I sent this to you. Also, I'm starving, so I'm going to grab some fast food before taking the hearse to the car wash. 2 birds, 1 stone, and swinging back to the home. Do you want anything? A beef and cheddar? I'm going to take the hearse through the drive-thru, of course. It freaks people out. I love it. They get so awkward. Let me know. I'm heading out in 15 minutes. Oh, okay. Hey, Matthews, this is embarrassing, but it seems I miscalculated some of our income, and I don't have enough to pay you this week. Would it be terribly inconvenient if I could cut you a check for next week instead? If you need the money urgently, please let me know. I feel terrible about this whole thing, and I can't cut a check for my personal account if I need to. I can cut a check. I'm so sorry about this. I can assure you it won't happen again. What's this? Jen Love. Charlie, I was doing some reading. I knew you hate when I try to give you dating advice, but hear me out. There's this dating site that's specifically for people working in the death industry. I could say, so maybe I'm a little worried for you. You have mentioned anybody new since the breakup of 2014 that we never speak of again after this moment. But you're always saying how tired you get of people being scared to ask about your day. So maybe meeting somebody in an industry isn't the worst idea? Just promise me you'll consider it, okay? It's harder for me to make sure you're seeing sunlight when I'm all the way across the ocean. I know you look like a babe with pale skin and witchy gothy aesthetics are super hot right now, but vitamin D is still a good thing. Mom rant over. I'm going to try it out because turns out people get super scared off when you tell them you work in a museum filled with dead bodies. Do you know how not interesting other people find teratomas? Charlie, I didn't know we were this weird to outside people. I've been spoiled by having the best friend who's as much of a weirdo as I am. Miss you. Let's grab a bottle of wine for our next Skype date. P.S. If you sign up for Dead Meat, oh my god, isn't that the best name for a death industry dating website? Tinder rules apply. You have to like me if you come across my profile or whatever. I'm not sure how it works just yet, though. Passing on this lovely thank you note. Hi, Amy. Thank you for the wonderful funeral. A wonderful evening you and your staff put together for my father's funeral. He wasn't always an easy man to get along with, but I'm glad to have seen him off in such a kind way. Cremation, I knew it. Today's funeral is for a woman who died from breast cancer. Nothing fancy, just standard cremation. Please don't hesitate to ask me. Okay, I'm on it. Man, this is just deep because it's just... Before we cremate, Mrs. Hall will need to prepare her body. Her Hall's family brought clothing and jewelry for her to wear. It's important to remove these before the cremation process as to not to damage them. Let's start by removing Mrs. Hall's necklace. We need to be able to identify Mrs. Hall's remains after she's cremated. Click on the round identification tag and place it in the coffin. Great, Mrs. Hall is now set for cremated now. To be cremated now. Okay. Now what? This is the cremulator. Contrary to popular beliefs, cremation doesn't turn bodies into ash so much as bone fragments. Using the cremulator will break these bone fragments down into ash-like remains. Let's try by placing the urn into cremulator. Oh, so it's not actually ashes. It's just bones. Click on the urn and place it on the cremulator under the nozzle. Click and drag the bone fragments and drop them into the top of the cremulator. Oh, I guess not that one first. Now that all the bones have been processed, click on the urn and put it back onto the counter. Make sure to put Mrs. Hall's necklace back into the urn. Click on the necklace and place it in the urn. Oh. Don't forget the tag. Click on the round identification tag and place it into the urn. Last step. Click on the urn's lid and place it on top of the urn. All done. Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. It's time to attend the funeral. Follow the arrow to the funeral parlor. Here we go again. It's an everyday thing. This is nice in a weird way. She liked that we're all here talking. She always tried to keep the family together. The food's delicious. I know that's weird, but these crab cakes are perfect. Ah, this is a hard game to play. Glad she was cremated, not in glad she was cremated and not in like an open casket or something. Seeing her like that, I don't know if I could have. At least we all got to say goodbye. She would have liked that. She would have hated this music. She never wanted her funeral to be so sad. She would have wanted us smiling. She said so. She fought really hard. She was proud of herself. She never gave up, not once. Oh, this is so sad. Ugh. Yeah, this is hard. February 14th. Is this Valentine's Day? I'm not gonna be like... Oh, she was drinking her coffee. She was just like, hell yeah, coffee. Okay, let's start with the bottom one. Oh. You've lived your life, mindful of the environment, doing your part to reduce pollution and generally help out where you can. So why not continue doing that even in death? At least that's the thinking for a lot of people who are turning to green or natural burials. Natural cemeteries are becoming more popular and are focused on a few rules. Mainly is the bodies aren't allowed to be embalmed with chemicals that can damage the environment, and bodies must be buried in a biodegradable shroud or casket. Not only is that better for the environment, it's also cheaper. At Union Cemetery in Ontario, Canada, a natural burial is just over $1,000. So better for the people, the environment, just maybe not so good for big businesses. Let's not forget, people, this is still a business after all. But really, why go green? Green burials help preserve natural resources, work to reduce carbon emissions, protect the health of those preparing bodies, and preserve natural habitats. Embalming fluids tend to contain formaldehyde, and funeral directors report a higher incidence of leukemia. Going green and not using toxic chemicals for embalming helps protect funeral directors while at the same time lessening the impact we have on the environment after we're gone. We here at Funeral Monthlies think green burials are pretty cool. What do you think? Jen Love. Okay. A challenger approaches. Charlie, I've been playing a new game when things are slow at work. It's called Tales from the Crypt Sweeper. Get it? Get it? It's like Minesweeper, but way harder. Like seriously, it's really, really difficult. And I thought my Minesweeper game was on point after working that overnight front desk job at the hotel for 3 years. But I must have gotten rusty. Anyways, instead of mines, you want to avoid graves so you don't disturb the adorable ghosts? The main character also kind of looks like you. Want to start a healthy competition? High score gets to pick up the restaurant we go to when one of us is in town. Next. I thought I would forward this to you. In situations like this, we typically connect people like Ryan with a grief counselor or other professionals who can really help him. Sometimes we get emails like this when people don't know where else to turn. It's difficult and family isn't always the most reliable for some people. Usually I would be happy to connect him, but I'm feeling a little tired today. Not my usual self, and it would be good for you to start building these kind of relationships on your own. Hi Amy. I know this email might be a bit odd, but you said if I was ever having troubles I should reach out, and you would know somebody I could talk to about all this. I don't know what to do now. I know my grandmother had lived a full, good life and was very happy and that she's not in pain anymore now. But, oh man, it's talking about grandma again. But I still feel empty. Amy, I've never felt this empty before. What am I supposed to do now? I thought I was stronger than this. Can you refer me to someone to talk to? I don't want to freak out my mom right now. She's dealing with enough with work and the will and trying to just be the best mom she can. I just need somebody to tell me that it'll be okay. Thank you, and I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Okay. Charlie, I thought you'd like to see this note. Hi Amy, I'm so eternally grateful that you were able to accommodate our request for my sister's funeral. It was a beautiful service and she would have been happy with it. That's such a weird thing to say, isn't it? Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Hi y'all, it is with a very heavy head that I write to let you all know that Rose and Daughters will no longer be in business. I have no idea how to start this email, and resources Google told me that it would be the best and easiest way to break the ice. Be dry but remorseful, Google said. The truth is, I don't really know what to say. Since my father passed away, I've done my best to make Rose and Daughters warm and friendly to anyone who's chose to use our services. It was a memorial to him, the original Rose, in a lot of ways. And you all become like family, including you, Charlie, our most recent addition. But it's getting harder to make ends meet. Rent is going up in the neighborhood, and I'm finding less and less like I have the energy for this business. There's a lot of competition from the other funeral homes, larger corporatives than we are, that just can take on more business and offer more impressive services. You know the way it goes. So we've been bought, or I sold, either way soon. Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc., a company that owns many funeral homes in the city and across the country, will replace Rose and Daughters starting from the beginning of next month. Same building, same name. They're keeping the name Rose and Daughters Funeral Home for tax purposes. Though honestly, I'm trying hard not to see it as a move on their part to keep up the image that is a family-run business. I don't know how to feel about that, and I don't know if there's anything I can do at this point either. I've signed the papers. At least my father's legacy is still intact somewhat. They have a good reputation, have agreed to keep you all on. That was one of my stipulations. I would sell as long as you all weren't without a job. Sorry I didn't tell you in a more personal way. I would have loved to have a company lunch, but admittedly, I didn't have the heart to tell you all in person. It was easier for me. Please understand. Please see the note below about the pacemaker. They can be tricky. Hi Yumi. You asked if there was a special instructions we wanted to pass along. Just please cremate my father. He has the pacemaker too. The doctor told me that would need to be removed. Alright, sounds good. I'll take care of it. That's the reality of some of the cremation homes. Is that sometimes, you know, not a lot of them make ends meet. Mr. Reyes came directly from the hospital, so we don't have to worry about him removing any valuables from him, as the family did not provide any for us to include. However, Mr. Reyes has a pacemaker that we'll need to remove before cremation. Because pacemakers are batteries, they will explode inside the hot heat of the cremation machine, and we definitely don't want that. Let's start by removing Mr. Reyes' pacemaker. Oh, I don't even know what a pacemaker is. You can see the pacemaker. Click on the forceps to click and drag the pacemaker out of the heart. Oh. Click on the round identification tag to pick it up and place it in the coffin. Great. Mr. Reyes is now set to be cremated now. There he goes. And then we have to do the rest. Okay, so then we put the fragments in. I wonder if this one's gonna be as lively as the other one, just like everyone being just happy. Well, like, not happy, but like they had good memories. Okay, let's go. Oh, it is a lot of people. Did you ever end up clearing the air with your father? No. We talked a few times, but no, not really. He sounded like a difficult man. He was stubborn. That's just it. Stubborn. What do you want to do after this? It's pretty nice out. Let's change and go find a patio somewhere? Sounds good. I could really use a beer right now. Hey, did I ever tell you the time we tailgated? Huh, I mean... I wonder if he ever liked me. He was nice to me, but I don't know. He never seemed like he really cared if I was there or not. Oh. I always told him to quit smoking, but of course, he never listened to me, so that figures. Huh. That was... different.